and welcome to this week's episode of The Cheese and the Alien Show. I'm back to being alone by myself this week. The Cheese, for those of you who haven't watched before. Alien had to go back to Missouri, unfortunately. Wish she could have stayed longer, but we had a good time while she was here, which would probably explain my new wardrobe for this week. Got my Kenseth Daytona 500 champion shirt on, because we went up to Cambridge to his museum last week, which is definitely something we would recommend for those of you who might end up being in northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin. Kind of in a new place too. We had 104 degrees here yesterday. It was 102 earlier this afternoon here. We're back under triple digits, thank goodness. For now, at least. That could change. It's still ridiculously hot, and my normal taping place is not air conditioned. So kind of been hiding out in the basement, which explains all the footsteps you'll probably hear in the background from upstairs. Alien and I hung out a lot down here while she was here. Blaming her for all this heat. She moved back to the Midwest from the desert, and now they're even getting rain down there, and it's cooler down there than it is in Illinois and Missouri. Yeah, we haven't seen rain in weeks. A little bit the day of that Indy race in Milwaukee 2 weeks ago. Came through here on its way over to the track. That's been about it lately. No grass left. Pretty exciting. Anyways, so her trip here was a lot of fun. Hit a lot of local tracks. We hit Rockford and Madison's track, and that Kenseth Museum, historic auto attractions in Roscoe, Illinois, all sorts of racing themed stuff. But our biggest part of the weekend, or the last week and a half, I guess you could say, was our trip to Route 66 Raceway for the NHRA race. It's cheaper than NASCAR. Sorry for my NASCAR fans out there, but we got to witness some history that we were both really excited to see. So first shout out of the show will go to Erica Enders for being the first female winning in Pro Stock car. Great to finally get to see her get that win, and that we were there even after the 3-hour rain delay. We didn't get as soaked as we did at the NASCAR race last year, but it was still worth it. Got to party in Victory Lane with all them. This hat is actually, and the Alien has one too, are from Antron Brown, the Top Fuel winners, Victory Lane pictures. It was pretty exciting to catch some of the hats from his crew members. Anyways, back to NASCAR. Congrats to James Buescher for his win in the Truck Series, and Austin Dillon's first win in the Nationwide Series, even though we missed it because we were up at Madison watching the race. Still glad to hear. We got to, during the rain delay there as well, got to hear the Victory Lane celebrations on the radio in the car while we were waiting out for rain to stop. So congratulations to both of them. Both of them had pretty dominating performances as well. Glad to see some younger names in Victory Lane in both series. The next big news, contract news, besides Matt Kenseth leaving Roush Fenway. Still haven't heard where he's going, but we know for sure that Denny Hamlin has a new contract with Joe Gibbs Racing, which makes the Alien very happy to hear. And the other news on the Denny front is that he's sitting out the Nationwide race tomorrow night, which we were sad to hear, but we hope he gets better, his back feels better. And we are excited to see Clint Bowyer in the race. Definitely a good alternative to seeing Denny. And another substitution that I just found out right before this is that Mike Bliss will be driving for Michael McDowell in the Cup race on Saturday night. So we send our condolences to Michael's family, because I know he's staying home for a funeral. Hope to see him back next week. And I hope all of you have been voting for the Drive Through the Cover campaign, and we're down to Casey Kane and Dale Earnhardt Jr. And anyone who's watched the show before knows that we're going to be asking you to vote for Casey Kane like we are. Make sure you get on Facebook and do that. We want to see Casey's beautiful face on the cover, not Junior's scruffy, homeless-looking face, whatever you want to call it. Casey's a much better alternative for the cover. The truck race was a pretty decent race. Glad that the Alien and I got to enjoy it together. But Todd Bodine, causing all sorts of problems. And you know, it's not the first time this year. And he doesn't even take responsibility for the mistakes he makes. I mean, everyone's going to make mistakes. We know you've been around for a while. You don't want to admit it, but it sounds better than making up excuses. I mean, he's a veteran in the series. If you're going to race against these young guns, Act like you're the veteran. Teach them how to race better. Don't just expect them to move out of your way so you can win because you're not in a great performing truck these days. It's not our fault. It's not the other driver's fault. Act like a veteran, and if you don't want to race with those young guns, don't be in the lower series. I've said this before. If you're going to complain about the other drivers in truck and nationwide, don't race against them then. They're trying to move their way up the ranks. We know they're inexperienced. They'll admit that they're inexperienced. Let them get that experience. If you might be a casualty of theirs, that's going to happen. It's part of racing. And the other excitement before the Cup race, actually in Cup practice on Friday, which we missed, we were at the zoo at that point on our way to Madison's track, was apparently Brad Keselowski and Juan Pablo Montoya getting into it, acting like kindergartners during practice. We got a pretty good laugh out of it in the car, listening to this on the radio. We don't really know what happened, but if you ask me, both of those drivers, hearing their names, it was bound to happen at one point. Both of them just like to pick fights with everybody. Then in the Cup race, which was pretty boring, we were playing Facebook games and yelling at the TV the whole time. Besides the fact that TNT's playing commercials almost the entire time, so we're trying to listen to the radio on our computers and watching Race Buddy, which for once was not 18 laps behind. But TNT, really, get rid of the commercials, or at least play a better variety. What happened to the days of all these great NASCAR drivers starring in commercials? We had a whole list of them last year. They've been few and far between this year. At least if you're going to make us suffer through all sorts of commercials, give us some good ones. Anyways, Carl Edwards and his fuel gamble. And I know it wasn't necessarily intentional, but I mean, we had a strong finish coming, and he ended up 20th, I believe. Once again, poor finishes, not even in the top 10 in points anymore. Carl, where is this driver that we had tying for the lead last year for the championship? What happened to him? It's not necessarily luck in their case either. It's somewhat poor decisions, a little bit of luck at the same time, but mostly poor decisions. Let's shape up. Come on, 99 boys. You're killing me here. And we have a shout out for Casey Kane, because I know he had to use the lucky dog to come back earlier in the race on Saturday night and finish second place. And if he hadn't had those issues, he could have easily won that race instead of drivers who shall not be named, who we won't celebrate. So, definite shout out to Casey Kane for that one. And not going to congratulate our winner from Saturday because, well, you all know why. I'm going to blame the alien for that one. Last time she came to visit last summer, we watched a 1.5-mile race together. Same driver in victory lane. So blame the alien for it. If she's not here, I can blame her. And we've had the first nationwide practice down already. Excited to say that it was Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Clint Bowyer pairing up to be fastest in first practice. Excited for that nationwide race tomorrow. The alien pretty much kicked my butt at fantasy, but I beat her in our NHRA fantasy. Had the right idea. I just picked all the drivers I wanted to win, except for Tony Schumacher's big explosion. If you haven't seen it, look it up. It was incredible. The TV definitely did it justice. And are we going to see pack racing or tandem racing? Once again, still kind of in question what we're going to see this weekend, so keep an eye out for that. And I'll show you who's been keeping me company. That's a Daytona race. He's been sleeping down here. This is my little buddy. This is my kitty, Daytona. Can you say hi? He's still not quite awake. He's been behaving himself for once. I named him Daytona because he was born back during Speed Week, so he's about 4.5 months. Usually he's a lot more alive than this. He's a Casey Kane fan, which I'm proud of, and he also likes Richard Petty. Those are the two that he likes when they come on the TV screen. He likes to watch them. He's trying to fall asleep again on me. Just wanted him to say hi since it's Daytona weekend. Hope you all enjoy the racing, and we'll see you next week.